Not all cars are born equal. For every legendary machine that defines a generation, there are others that become infamous for all the wrong reasons. You'd expect the big players in the auto industry to have it all figured out, but as you're about to see, even giants can stumble. We've compiled a list of automotive blunders, cars so fundamentally flawed they spent more time being repaired than being driven, models that were cursed from the blueprint stage, and designs so bizarre you have to ask, what were they thinking? If you're looking for your next car, consider this the beginning of your official do not buy list. This is part 1 of our series, counting down the cars you should absolutely avoid. Number 10. The Mitsubishi Mirage. Alright, let's get started with our car at the 10th spot. The Mitsubishi Mirage. This car is rolling proof that the cheapest option is rarely the best value. Marketed as an affordable new car, the Mirage delivers on the cheap part. Under its thin hood lies a tiny 1.2-liter, 3-cylinder engine that produces a staggering 78 horsepower. That's not a typo. Trying to merge onto a highway feels less like driving and more like a high-stakes gamble against physics. The continuously variable transmission, or CVT, only makes the experience worse. The interior is a masterclass in cost-cutting. A sea of hard, unforgiving plastic, with seats that feel borrowed from a park bench and road noise that makes you feel like you're riding on the asphalt, not over it. That brings us to our 9th entry. Number 9. The Fiat 500L. Here we have a textbook example of a good idea gone horribly wrong. The original Fiat 500 is a charming, retro-styled city car. But when Fiat tried to inflate it into a practical family vehicle, they created the automotive equivalent of a funhouse mirror reflection, the Fiat 500L. The proportions are just off. It looks like a classic 500 that's been stretched in all the wrong places, ending up as a bloated, awkward minivan with a permanent identity crisis. Its biggest crime, however, was its catastrophic unreliability. The 1.4-liter turbocharged engine was handicapped by a sluggish and unresponsive automatic transmission that seemed to have a mind of its own. Owners were bombarded with a constant stream of electrical gremlins, transmission failures, and a glitchy infotainment system that would freeze more often than it worked. It failed as a fun car and it failed as a practical car, leading Fiat to pull the plug after years of dismal sales, leaving behind a legacy of regret. From a car that was too big for its own good, we moved to a car that was perhaps too small for anyone's good. Number 8. The Smart for Two. The Smart for Two was designed to be the ultimate solution for congested city life. A tiny, fuel-sipping car that could park anywhere. In practice, it was a lesson in over-promising and under-delivering. The car's quirky design came at the cost of all practicality. The trunk could barely hold a week's worth of groceries, and interior storage was virtually non-existent. It was a 2-seater with the storage space of a 1-seater. But here's the kicker. For a car so comically small, its fuel economy wasn't even that impressive. It was easily beaten by larger, more powerful, and infinitely more practical subcompacts like the Honda Fit, which could carry twice the people and 10 times the cargo. Buyers quickly realized that for the same price, they could get a proper car with 4 seats, a usable trunk, and far better reliability, making the Smart for Two little more than an overpriced novelty. Speaking of paying a premium for a car that lets you down, our next entry wears a luxury badge but is famous for all the wrong reasons. Number 7. The Land Rover Discovery Sport. The Land Rover badge is supposed to signify luxury, prestige, and off-road prowess. Unfortunately, for the Discovery Sport, it mostly signifies an impending check engine light. On the surface, it's an attractive SUV with a premium interior and that desirable badge on the grille. But beneath that stylish exterior lies a vehicle plagued by relentless and expensive problems. The Discovery Sport is notorious for its poor reliability. The electrical systems are a constant source of frustration, and the infotainment system is so slow and buggy you'd think it was from the dial-up era. The 2.0-liter turbocharged engine feels lethargic under the vehicle's weight, and when things inevitably go wrong, you're faced with repair bills so high they could fund a small space program. It's a car that looks the part of a luxury SUV but acts like a high-maintenance liability. If Land Rover failed by making a mainstream SUV unreliable, our next contender failed by making a niche vehicle that nobody understood or wanted. Number 6. The Acura ZDX. If you've never seen an Acura ZDX on the road, you're not alone. This vehicle was Acura's attempt to jump on the coupe crossover trend, but it ended up being a spectacular and expensive failure. The core problem was its design. That dramatic, sloping roofline that was meant to look sporty completely destroyed its practicality. Rear seat passengers found themselves with almost no headroom, and the cargo space was pitiful compared to literally any other SUV in its class. It wasn't a real SUV, and it wasn't a real sports coupe. It was just a confused, compromised vehicle that tried to be two things at once and failed at both. With a high price tag that put it against the far superior BMW X6 and Porsche Cayenne, sales were virtually non-existent. Number 5. The Chrysler 200. The Chrysler 200 is the automotive definition of the word meh. It was Chrysler's attempt to challenge the dominance of the Honda Accord and Toyota Camry, but it fell short in every single category, serving as a placeholder in the mid-size sedan market rather than a real competitor. The design was bland and uninspired, and the interior was a cramped, uncomfortable space, especially for anyone relegated to the back seats. Its biggest mechanical flaw was the 9-speed automatic transmission, a clunky, indecisive unit that made driving a chore. It would hunt for gears, shift abruptly, and sometimes just seem confused. But the nail in the coffin was its abysmal reliability, with owners reporting a wide range of frustrating and costly issues. Chrysler eventually threw in the towel and discontinued the 200. Number 4. The Honda Ridgeline, first generation. Honda is a brand synonymous with reliability and smart engineering, which is why their first attempt at a pickup truck was so baffling. The first-generation Honda Ridgeline was meant to be a revolutionary take on the pickup, but it ended up alienating the very audience it needed to win over. Instead of the tough body-on-frame construction that traditional truck buyers demand for durability and heavy loads, the Ridgeline used a unibody platform, like a car or crossover. This made it less capable for serious towing and hauling. While it had clever features like the in-bed trunk, hardcore truck fans saw it as a gimmick. They wanted rugged capability, not a crossover with a bed. The result was a vehicle that was too much of a truck for SUV buyers and not enough of a truck for truck buyers, leaving it stuck in a niche of its own making. Honda misjudged their audience, but our next car's manufacturer misjudged its price tag by about 100%. Number 3. The Cadillac ELR. The Cadillac ELR was a stunningly beautiful car with a fatal flaw. It was just a Chevy Volt wearing a tuxedo that cost twice as much. Priced at an eye-watering $75,000, Cadillac marketed the ELR as a sleek, futuristic luxury hybrid. The problem was that underneath its gorgeous body, it shared the exact same 1.4-liter engine and electric motor as the Chevy Volt. Worse still, it was slower than the Volt. Number 2. The Maserati Gibli. Hearing the name Maserati evokes images of Italian passion, thrilling performance, and bespoke luxury. The Gibli, however, was marketed as the entry-level Maserati, and it felt every bit the part. The brand cut corners everywhere to bring the price down, resulting in a deeply disappointing vehicle that tarnished the Trident badge. The interior was littered with cheap plastic parts borrowed directly from the Chrysler parts bin, buttons and switches you'd find in a Dodge minivan. The infotainment system was frustratingly outdated, and the ride was stiff and unrefined, lacking the poise of its German rivals. And, of course, it was plagued by Maserati's legendary reliability issues, making it a financial nightmare for owners. It was an expensive lesson that a fancy badge can't hide a flawed car. And finally, we arrive at our number 1 spot. If an Italian exotic can be a letdown, what about something completely practical? A family minivan. Number 1. The Nissan Quest Final Generation. Minivans are built for practicality, not excitement, but the final generation of the Nissan Quest managed to fail at both. While competitors like Honda and Toyota were innovating with smart features, vacuum cleaners, and improved safety, the Quest felt like an abandoned project that Nissan had forgotten about. Its design was strangely boxy and top-heavy, looking more like a shipping container than a family vehicle. The interior lacked the clever storage solutions that make minivans so useful, and its technology felt a decade old even when it was new. But its greatest sin was mechanical: the notoriously unreliable Nissan CVT. These continuously variable transmissions were prone to premature failure, leaving owners with multi-thousand-dollar repair bills that completely defeated the purpose of a budget-friendly family hauler. Faced with dwindling sales and a terrible reputation, Nissan discontinued the Quest, leaving it as a prime example of automotive neglect. And that's just the first 10. We have many more automotive disasters to cover. Which of these cars do you think was the biggest failure? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss part 2, where we'll expose even more cars you should never ever buy. See you next time.